Hey guys, Squatch here. Hey, so I just finished up running some 45 ACP over here on this Dillon XL750. And during my run, I was running the large primers. So I have this press switched over to the large primers. Now we're going to be switching over to run small primers on our next run. So we need to change over this press from large primer to small primers. And it's real simple, and I'm going to show you how to do it now. All right, we're going to get some things out of our way, and the first thing we're going to get out of our way is this fail-safe rod here. We're going to pull it off, and then since I have the press back already, I'm going to go ahead and hold this, and I'm going to pull this slide bar back, putting tension on the spring, and I'm going to go ahead and move out our op rod. And now I'm going to take my fingers, I'm going to grab this spring underneath here, and I'm going to pull it off of the foot and just let it set aside. So now I have this slide bar completely loose. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of the way, and underneath I'm going to show you two thumb screws that we have to remove here. Alright, underneath the slide bar assembly there's two thumb screws right here. We need to go ahead and get those loose. And again, these should not be put on with a wrench or anything. They're just going to be hand tight. And there's a washer here, so we want to put our hand underneath and make sure we do not lose those washers, because they are there and they will fly all over the room. There's one more right here. I'm going to get it loosened up, just like so. And this one's a little bit awkward, just due to the positioning of it. So we got that off right there. I'm going to set that aside. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove our primer magazine. All right, now that we have everything loose here, I'm going to go ahead and remove the magazine. Just lift it out like so. On the new 750s, these are held in with, again, those thumb nuts, and this primer assembly now has studs on it. Now the older 550s, you'd have to run a bolt up through the bottom. Sometimes it was a little tricky, and this system's quite a bit better than the 550, but it's still pretty much as robust as the 550. So we're going to set this aside because we're going to have to change the magazine size inside there. And for right now, we're going to remove. This is the large primer bar, and it's got a silver cup here. And we're going to go ahead and set into place, making sure we keep our bearing plate there installed. And we're going to put the small primer bar, we're just going to lay it in there for now. And now we're going to go ahead and change over the magazine. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get our small primer magazine tube installed. And this one's going to have a blue plastic tip on the end. And the one that we're going to remove has a red plastic tip and indicates large primers. So the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and remove the low primer alarm. Let's get that off there. And a quick tip, these come pretty tight from Dillon when you buy them brand new. And when you install it onto the knurled end cap here, it's pretty difficult to get it on and off. And what I usually do is I'll go ahead and just loosen these screws up on the body just slightly, so this slides on and off. Because what you don't want to do is use this as like a, gaining some leverage by tightening this knurled cap up, and you'll damage the plastic tip at the bottom. And I've talked about this before, and I see quite frequently guys over tightening this cap when they do the reinstall, damaging the tip, or when they first install it and put on their low primer alarm, they go ahead and reach up there and snug up this knurled cap. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. But now what we're going to do is go ahead and remove that knurled cap. And we are going to pull out the large primer tube, again with the red plastic tip on the end of the magazine. And that indicates large primer. So now I'm going to move you guys down because I want to show you the underneath here. Because on these magazine tubes, there is a groove inside that corresponds with this tip, and you have to get it lined up perfect. So let's jump down and look at it from underneath. So what I wanted to point out was this slot here in the back of the housing. And this is where your magazine tip is going to have to align with that notch right there. So when we install this, we need to make sure that this lines up perfectly and goes into that groove. Alright, so here we go. We're going to install our magazine tube, and you can see that I have everything lined up correctly. Now again, if I turn this, it will not fully go where it needs to go. So you have to get that slot lined up perfectly, and that's it. So now we're going to install the knurled end cap. So now that we have our magazine tube properly seated in the bottom of our magazine housing there, we're going to go ahead and reinstall our knurled end cap. And again, do not get this too tight because you will damage that plastic tip, and then you're going to have all kinds of problems. Sideways primers flinging out on the floor. It does not have to be tight, just snug. And the key is, so it's just snug enough, and like this is it when I'm talking snug, is make sure, and hopefully you guys can see this inside there, that your magazine tube is centered up with your knurled cap. So once that's complete, we're ready to install this back onto the press. All right, installation is pretty simple. Again, we have studs here that we need to line up with those holes. We're just going to set it into place like that. And now we're going to go ahead and grab our thumb nuts with the washers. Make sure we put those on there. And we're just going to get those started for right now. And again, make sure you do not lose these washers. They will just take off on you if you drop them on the floor. But once you get it started, go ahead and just run the nuts all the way up until you feel it engage the bottom of the housing. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put our spring back here on our slide bar. And again, I'm just pulling it out and aligning the loop with the bottom of this stud right here. So now what we're going to do is confirm our alignment of our cup into our shell plate. Okay, so we're going to confirm our alignment of our primer cup there just by short stroking the press a little bit, letting it index, and it should be smooth. We shouldn't be catching on anything. There should be any drag, and that looks very good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and reach down here and tighten up these thumb nuts here, just hand snug, and that's it. And we're going to go ahead and get our op rod installed here again. All right, we're going to go ahead and get our op rod installed, and it's going to go back on the exact same way it come off. So I'm going to go ahead and get the press up a little bit, place it into its bracket up top. I'm going to reach down here, and I'm going to try to do this as best I can so you guys can see. I'm going to pull back on the slide bar and just slide it into place like so. And that's it. So now we can confirm that everything is functioning and moving as it's supposed to. All right, we're going to button this up. We're going to go ahead and reinstall our low primer sensor, put our primer rod back into place, and we are done changing this over to small pistol primers. All right, guys, that's going to wrap this video up. So I hope that helped you if you're looking to swap your XL750 over from large to small or small to large. Hopefully that put everything kind of in perspective for you so you can do that very easily. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on my Gmail, squatchreloading@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Squatch Reloading as well. You can also find us, and if you want to support what we're doing, Patreon, patreon.com/Squatch Reloading. I'll put a link in the description below. If you guys like these videos, please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications so you're up to date on everything we got coming. So that's going to wrap her up. And until next time, guys, God bless.